I thought my boyfriend Mark was the one. We had that kind of love you see in movies. The easy laughter, the inside jokes, the way we finished each other's sentences. We were talking about moving in together, maybe getting a dog, and one day, a future with a white picket fence. From the outside, we were perfect. He was charming, attentive, and everyone adored him. I trusted him completely, with my heart, my future, and my secrets. But it turns out, he had a secret of his own, one that was much bigger and far more damaging than another woman. It started with little things, tiny inconsistencies that felt like a splinter in my mind. At first, I brushed them off. He'd get a phone notification and quickly swipe it away before I could see. Or I'd find a receipt from an ATM withdrawal for a few $100s, but he'd just bought groceries for $50. When I'd ask, he'd have a smooth answer ready. Oh, that was for my buddy. I owed him cash. Or, it's just a spam notification. You know how it is. He was so convincing, so casual, that I'd feel silly for even questioning it. But the odd moments kept piling up. He started getting weird about his wallet, always keeping it just out of reach. He'd take calls in another room, speaking in hushed tones. My friends, bless their hearts, immediately jumped to the worst conclusion. He's cheating, they'd say, their eyes full of pity. I defended him, of course. Mark wouldn't do that, I'd insist, even as a knot of anxiety tightened in my stomach. The idea of him with someone else was devastating, but somehow, the truth was even worse. The real turning point came when we started seriously looking at apartments. We were supposed to be a team, planning our finances together. But every time I brought up budgets or credit scores, he'd get defensive and change the subject. Babe, let's not ruin the romance with spreadsheets, he'd joke. But his smile didn't reach his eyes. That's when the doubt truly took root. If we couldn't talk about money, how could we build a life together? The fear was no longer just a whisper. It was a scream. I knew something was wrong, and I decided I wasn't going to be the fool in this story. I had to know the truth, no matter how much it hurt. So, I devised a plan. It felt a little sneaky, but his secrecy had pushed me into a corner. I told him I wanted to have a financial future date night. I framed it as something positive and proactive. Let's make a 5-year plan, I said with a big smile, pouring us both a glass of wine. We can link our accounts to one of those budget apps, see where our money goes, and start saving for that dream house. I held my breath, watching his face. For a second, I saw pure panic flash in his eyes before he masked it with that charming smile. Sure, babe, whatever you want, he said, trying to sound enthusiastic. He thought he could outsmart the app, or maybe just me. He was wrong. That night, he reluctantly logged into his bank account on my laptop. I watched over his shoulder as the numbers populated the screen. At first, it looked normal. Paychecks in, rent out. But then I started digging into the transaction history. And there it was. Not texts from another woman, but loan payments. Multiple loan payments to different online lenders I'd never heard of. And the withdrawals. Hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars, being funneled into online gambling sites. My heart hammered against my ribs. I clicked on the loan details. The air went thick with my silence. He saw the look on my face and the color drained from his. The charm evaporated, replaced by the desperate look of a cornered animal. He started stammering, making excuses about a few bad bets, a temporary hole he was digging himself out of. He swore he was going to tell me, that he was just waiting for the right time. But looking at the dates on those loans, some of which were over a year old, I knew that was a lie. He wasn't planning to tell me. He was planning to let me walk into our shared future, shackled to his secret debt. The betrayal felt like a physical blow. It wasn't about another person. It was about a fundamental breach of trust that tainted every memory we'd ever made. For a moment, I just wanted to scream, to throw the laptop across the room. But then, a cold, calculated calm washed over me. He didn't deserve my tears or my rage. He deserved to be exposed. He had built this perfect facade for everyone, my friends, my family. They all thought he was Prince Charming, the man who was going to take care of me. It was time for them to see the real Mark, and I knew the perfect stage for the big reveal. His parents had invited us for his dad's birthday dinner that weekend. The whole family would be there. It was perfect. I spent the next few days playing the part of the loving, supportive girlfriend. I helped him look up debt consolidation plans. I told him we'd get through this together. He was so relieved, so grateful. He was practically glowing. He thought he had dodged the biggest bullet of his life. He had no idea I was just reloading. I secretly printed out everything. The loan agreements, the bank statements highlighting the gambling transactions, the credit card bills. I put them all in a neat presentation folder, like I was preparing for a business meeting. This wasn't just revenge. It was an intervention he never saw coming. The night of the dinner arrived. The scene was idyllic. His mom had cooked a beautiful meal. His dad was opening presents, and everyone was laughing. Mark was holding my hand under the table, squeezing it thankfully, whispering how much he loved me. I just smiled. After the cake was served, I stood up, tapping my glass for attention. "I'd like to make a little toast," I announced. Everyone turned to me, smiling expectantly. Mark looked at me, his eyes full of adoration. "I wanted to celebrate something Mark and I have been working on," I began, my voice steady and clear. "We've been planning our financial future, and in doing so, I've learned so much about him. For instance, I learned about his incredible ability to secure loans. A real talent." I pulled out the folder, so I put together a little presentation. His face fell. The panic was back, but this time, there was nowhere to run. I passed the printouts around the table to his stunned parents, his sister, his brother-in-law. "Here you can see the $15,000 personal loan," I said, pointing. "And over here, the $8,000 credit card he maxed out on sports betting sites. All told, we're celebrating Mark's secret achievement of accumulating $38,000 in debt." The silence in the room was deafening. His mother's hand flew to her mouth. His father's face was a mask of thunderous disbelief. Mark just sat there, utterly humiliated, unable to speak, as his family stared at the proof in their hands. He couldn't lie his way out of this. He couldn't charm his way out of it. The man they all admired was exposed as a liar and a secret gambler. His father finally broke the silence. "Is this true, Mark?" he asked, his voice dangerously low. Mark could only nod, his head bowed in shame. I placed my apartment key on the table next to my uneaten piece of cake. "I believe this is yours," I said to him, my voice devoid of emotion. "Happy birthday, Mr. Johnson." And with that, I turned and walked out of that house, leaving him to face the fallout of the life he had hidden. I didn't look back. Walking away was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it was also the most liberating. The lesson here wasn't just about money. It was about honesty. A partnership can't be built on secrets, whether they're in your text messages or your bank statements. My ex-boyfriend's karma didn't come in the form of a scorned lover. It came from a spreadsheet. And sometimes, a financial ledger can tell a more brutal story than any diary ever could. I chose a future of transparency and self-respect over a life built on a foundation of lies. And that's a decision I'll never regret. Thank you so much for watching and for letting me share this story with you. If you've ever been through something similar or just want to see more content like this, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It means the world to me. See you in the next one.